Welcome back to episode 256 of the Bry-Fy podcast. This time around, we are reviewing still the Avengers, written by Jonathan Hickman. We're looking at issues number 35 through 44, finally leading up into Secret Wars. This is what we've been waiting for. This is like everything that I've been hoping for. Of course, it's written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Jim Chung, Stefano Caselli, and Mike Deodato. Sorry, I have to look at my notes or else I can't remember their names. I'm really bad at that. But so really excited, all the way up, read through them, waiting to finally get the answers to everything that I've had questions on, waiting to get the answers for like why everything's happening, who caused it all, and how are they going to solve it, and like how are they going to like come to like the ultimate conclusion before Secret Wars begins. And none of that gets answered in any of these issues, which upsets me greatly. In fact, it's more like reading Civil War again, because at some point Steve Rogers is mad at Tony Stark, and yes, they will fight, and it will be epic, and it'll be like just like every Civil War that's ever been. Well, up until now. Because there is Civil War 2, and that doesn't take place between Captain America and Iron Man. It is Iron Man and Captain Marvel. So still a captain, but different. It's different, okay? Marvel made it different, so it's different. Anyway, let's talk a little bit more about the Avengers now. Of course, you guys know who I am. I'm Bry-Fy, the comics guy. This is the Bry-Fy podcast. That is my AC kicking on. So, yeah, let's have some fun with that. Anyway, like I said, the Captain America-led Avengers, they're kind of trying to track down the Illuminati Avengers, which have Tony Stark, Black Panther, I think Namor was on it from a time, but now he's with the Cabal, which is led by Thanos and his crazy minions. And basically everyone's kind of coming to the same conclusion, except for Captain America, and everyone else's conclusion is we gotta blow shit up. Like, these other Earths, if we want our Earth to live and our universe to live, we gotta destroy all these other Earths and all these other universes. Because that's essentially what's happening. And it's sad. And yeah, no one wants to come to that conclusion, but I mean, it's got to happen. Of course, Steve Rogers doesn't like it, doesn't agree with it, so he's busy trying to track down Tony Stark, because obviously he's the mastermind behind it all, even though at some point I believe Tony Stark even gets banished from the Illuminati for different reasons. And it's just crazy. In fact, I don't even know why that happens, because as it turns out, reading the Avengers for all your Marvel event news is not the best thing. I think I should be reading New Avengers, because that's the one that handles the Illuminati and all that stuff. So now I'm going back to start reading the New Avengers, and we'll talk about that stuff leading up in the Secret War. My goal is to finally find the answers for Secret War, and that's what we're going through right now. And that's why I'm going insane little by little as I continue reading these stories. Sunspot, who is an Avenger, if you don't know, he's buying AIM because they're bad guy scientists. Well, it turns out I guess they're just scientists, and they really don't care, you know, who's leading them, as long as they're paying the checks, and they'll do whatever you tell them to, which is kind of nice. But I think at this point, trying to save Earth and the universe is kind of everyone's common goal. So it's like there's no enemies. It's just what you're ethically or morally, you know, what you can handle. And of course, Steve Rogers, good old boy, can't handle what's happening in the background and foreground and everywhere around him. He's very upset with what everyone else has decided to do to save the universe. And that's kind of like the big thing going on here. Steve Rogers, very upset. Oh, he's old now, too. That's a thing, because I don't know when that happened. He was young in Original Sin, and now he's old. And I missed that part, so I guess I'm going to have to go figure that one out. I guess I'm going to have to read Captain America now. Add that to the list, huh? Jesus Christ, man. So, yeah. I got very sidetracked there. So, Team Cap, his Avengers, the good old boys Avengers, they also have another secret weapon Avenger, a part of their team, and that's Sue Storm. Sue Storm. Susan Storm. Well, Richards. Sue Richards, because she's married to Reed Richards, who is a part of the Illuminati. And so she's like, I need to find my husband. I don't know where he's at, and I'm very upset with what he's doing. And, you know, Steve takes that at face value, I guess. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. She's upset at her husband. I believe her. Guess what? Double cross. Because that's what happens. And who doesn't figure that out? All the spies on the team. Hawkeye's like, yep, no, she's part of us. Black Widow, yep, she's part of us. Well, I guess that doesn't count because Black Widow is also double spying for Steve Rogers for Sunspot in his group of Avengers with AIM. So you got Thor and you got Hyperion, and they're like, hey, we're going to figure out why all these incursions are happening. We're with AIM, and they're going to send us across the multiverse so we can figure all this out. And then nothing else happens after that. We don't follow Thor. We don't follow Hyperion. We just kind of forget that we even sent them off to the other side of the multiverse to figure things out, because that's not important. What's really important is Steve Rogers is mad at Tony Stark. That's what we have to solve. That's the big problem, because this is the Avengers, and I'll be damned if it's not going to be Civil War until the end of time, because that's kind of what it feels like the entire time. Avengers have to be mad at Avengers. They can't be mad at bad guys. Bad guys bring Avengers together and makes them happy. That doesn't sell toys. Heroes fighting heroes sells toys. Trust me, I know. Of course, like I mentioned, you guys have the Cabal, which is led by Thanos, and they're, at this point in time in the comics, there's not many Earths left. There's like a few dozen, if that. Maybe even less. Maybe even, I think it's like up to 24 at this point in the comics. And the Cabal decides, hey, we're going to go kill them. Namor's with us. And Namor decides, I don't want to be with the Cabal anymore. I want them to die. So I got a plan that's going to kill them. And Black Panther decides, I don't want Namor to be alive anymore. So I got a plan to kill him while he's trying to kill them. And so all these plans go into action. The Cabal goes to the new Earth to destroy it and kill it. Of course, Namor decides, hey, I'm going to kill you guys. So he goes to kill those guys. He gets everything set to kill those guys. Uh-oh, turns out Black Panther's there. He stabs Namor in the freaking chest and then bounces. Like, deuces, bro. And instead of killing them right away, setting the bomb off, destroying that crazy Earth and wiping them out of existence, no more Thanos, no more Cabal, yay. He's like, I want him to sit there for a few minutes or hours, depending on whatever is chronologically convenient for me. I don't know. It's just crazy. Basically, he lets them live long enough for Namor and the Cabal to figure out a way off of the Earth and onto a new Earth. And the new Earth is the one with Miles Morales on it. Earth 1610. Did I write it in my notes? Let's look through my notes. Yeah, 1610. Earth 1610, Miles Morales world. The one that we're really important about. The one that we like just as much as the 616, or really we just like Spider-Man from 1610. No one else. No one else matters. But that's good, because Secret Wars, the whole idea behind it was to get Miles Morales into the 616, or at least that's what I believe. Because nothing else of value happens throughout Secret Wars. There's nothing important. There's a few other cool characters that were created through Secret Wars and that whole event, but the most important thing to come out of that is now Miles Morales is in the 616, and he gets to play with Peter Parker all the time and have like fun on again, off again relationships with all of the teen Marvel girls, because that's kind of what Miles has turned into to me. Although I have stopped reading his book, so I don't really know what the hell's going on. But then even in his book, he was flirting, I think, Spider-Gwen at one point, Miss Marvel, Boom Boom Girl, I can't remember her name. She makes things go boom, and that's her superpower. That's how she saves people, by making them go boom. Yeah, that's pretty much it up to this point. Thanos and company is on Earth 1610. They team up with Nick Fury and his Avengers and his S.H.I.E.L.D. because they know that the very last incursion is going to commence, and that's between 1610 and Earth 616. The two big Marvel universes are about to collide, and they're, I guess, going to get the revenge on the Avengers and stuff by convincing that world's Avengers that the other Avengers are bad Avengers. And then we got Avengers fighting Avengers, which leads it back to god dang Civil War all over again. I hate you. Honestly, though, it's okay. It's fun to read. I think this experience has taught me that I am not a huge fan of team books, or at least not the big Avengers books. I remember when I first started reading comics, I was picking up the Mighty Avengers, and I really loved that story. And I think it was because it was more self-contained, and I prefer more self-contained stories. With the Avengers run, and especially with Jonathan Hickman's Avengers, there's a lot there, and I've only realized that the more and more I read of the Avengers, I realize there's more and more I need to read just to understand what I'm reading and how we got to all of these different things. And so now I'm going to start reading the new Avengers. I'll probably pick up Avengers World just in case I'm missing something. And then I think I need to read Fantastic Four. I'm not sure, but I might. But I think I can get everything that I need out of New Avengers. If someone else knows more than me, please tell me, because I need your help. Anyways, guys, as far as a rating goes for this, definitely a positive charge comic. It's fun. As much as I don't get from it, as much as I don't enjoy team books myself, it was still a fun read. I enjoyed it. The artwork was good in it. You get to see a bunch of different characters all interacting with each other, which is a lot of fun, and a bunch of different villains as well, in which that's, you know, comic books, that's what they're supposed to be. Like, I guess when I'm reading the Avengers like this, it's what I expect comic books to be. Like, this is silly, it's over the top, it's all these fun things, and at the end of the day, it's a fun read, and I can't knock it for that, you know. I can't like nitpick it to death until I decide, oh, it's not a good book. I mean, it's fun, and Jonathan Hickman's a fun writer, and so I would definitely recommend this for anyone who wants to read into the events and just big team books. I think Jonathan Hickman's Avengers was a pretty fun run to read, since I did read it all. And now I got to go read some more. So that's going to be it for the YouTube comic book review portion. If you want to listen to the rest of the podcast, please head over to Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, not SoundCloud, even though I keep trying to say SoundCloud, and there's other places. Basically anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to my podcast. I prefer you go to my main site because it's also tied to Facebook, which you can also follow me on like all my social media if you're, you know, one of those beautiful social people that likes to talk and those kind of things. You see, notice how I'm getting more and more nervous talking about it now. But you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all those things. I post just daily things about comic books, all that stuff. You can always reach me, talk to me, tell me what I'm terrible at, tell me what I'm great at, suggestions, all that kind of things. You can also email me at bry-fy-podcast@hotmail.com. I know Hotmail, ew, but that's about it. So head over to Podbean or any kind of podcatcher app so you can finish listening to the rest of the podcast. But thank you guys for tuning in on YouTube. Now it's time to move on to the nifty nerd news.